So today in my series on what you leave behind, we're going to be talking about a legacy letter, what that is, and how it can really be a treasure for those you leave behind. Coming up next. Hi everybody, my name is Dee Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, where we talk about how to make money, save money, and have a fabulous retirement. Well, we've been talking a lot about what you leave behind, and we've talked about leaving a memoir, writing down some of the stories of your life, your experiences, identifying photos, all kinds of things we've talked about on ways to leave a legacy. Well, all of those items that we've talked about thus far have been about history, your history, the things that you want your children to know about how you grew up and the things you've experienced. Also, the things from your grandparents and great-grandparents that you remember. We have talked about leaving that history for your children. Well, today we're going to be talking about something called a legacy letter. And a legacy letter is what you're leaving for the future. It's a completely different concept. So let's talk about what that is. A legacy letter is something you write to each of your children or family members that you might leave behind. And in that letter, you talk about how you see them as people, what you hope for their future, how proud you are of them, those sorts of things. You really are giving them something they can read repeatedly over the years after you're gone and hear all of those positive things you believe in them and want for them, even if you're not there anymore. And I've talked about this with several of my friends who are in retirement and thinking about the kind of legacy, and they've loved this idea. And really, in a practical way, it allows them to say things that maybe don't get said enough. Or, when you're saying things to your children, they're like, yeah. You say, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you back. Well, they hear it all the time, so, they don't really heed it that well. Well, when you put it into a letter like this, they can read those words at the time they need to hear them, whether you're there or not. And so in that way, it's an incredible treasure. Now, one of the things that I talk to people about is if you're going to do something like this, and all of us should, absolutely, for those we treasure, is to do it immediately. Don't wait until you're almost at death and you think, I'll do that when I'm 80. None of us knows how long we have. Write one now about what you perceive now. And then in 5 years, if you're still here in 5 years, write another one. Keep them both. Talk about how they've changed in those 5 years and what you see for them now. By the time you actually do go, there may be 4 or 5 of these letters, but they will love every single one of them. And it's a really good practice because it reminds you to say these things, but it also leaves them behind in written form. And this is one of those gifts you leave someone that's not about you. It's not about you or your life or what happened. It's about them. That's what makes it valuable to them, because it's about them and their future, not you and your past. And this letter is really about encouragement, what you see for their future, whether their situation right now is very positive or not. It's your chance to give them encouragement and hope for their own future and how you see them in the future, even if their circumstance now is not very positive. And this actually came up during a discussion I was having with several other people, and one of her children is addicted to drugs and is not in a good place. And I told her, I said, there's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is imagine their life free from that. And how that they'll have the strength to do that at some point in their life. It may be years down the road before that happens, or if that happens, but they'll have that letter to read that you thought it could happen. That may be the catalyst they need to make it actually happen. So don't miss that opportunity. And don't try and catch that end of life. Oh, we'll have a few minutes to talk before I go. Do you know how often that doesn't happen? Especially if you have kids across the country, they don't make it home in time. Something like this can relieve them completely of that anxiety and guilt. And remember, a legacy letter is not about achievement. It's not about you listing, oh, I'm sure you'll go to college. Oh, I'm sure you'll be successful. It's not about that. It's about what your hopes are for them as a human being, not what your hopes are for what they'll achieve. You know, it's exactly like when you're writing your memoir. And you remember how I said that your kids don't want a laundry list of achievements. They want to know about you as a person and what you've learned through your life, not what you've achieved. This letter is the same thing. Your kids don't want a laundry list of what you expect out of them, achievement-wise. They just want to know what you hope for their future as far as them as human beings. That's it. It doesn't have to be any kind of laundry list, nor should it be. It should just be hopeful and encouraging and give them something they'll treasure for years. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.